Good evening. This is Eswatini TV News at 8, read to you by myself, Notele Sitole, alongside Zamanzi Manze. First up, let's have a look at our headlining stories. Important data at the Manzini social welfare offices under the DPM's office has been burned to ashes. The Ministry of Education has promised to deal with principals who continue to misuse school funds. The Bapalali Eswatini Red Cross Society has since the beginning of winter received 64 requests for humanitarian assistance from households burnt down by fires. And now the news in detail. The social welfare offices in Manzini, which are under the Deputy Prime Minister's office, have been burnt to ashes following a fire which was allegedly started by a mentally unstable man. The Deputy Prime Minister's office Principal Secretary Makosini Mdawe says the offices that were burnt down have data for elderly, disabled persons as well as orphans and vulnerable children.
The Manzini Social Welfare Office is under the Deputy Prime Minister's Office caught fire on Sunday evening. Deputy Police Information and Communications Officer Nosi Pomgoni says investigations by the police indicate that the fire was allegedly started by a mentally unstable person who is a patient of the Manzini Psychiatric Center. Mgoni alleges that the man sneaked into the offices and started the fire as means to keep himself warm. Mgoni says the psychiatric center confirmed that the man is a client. She says the man was then handed over to his family. The Deputy Prime Minister's Office Principal Secretary Makosini Mdawe says the office will try to recover the lost data via computer system, adding that when necessary, clients of the Manzini Social Welfare Offices will be notified to resubmit their personal information.
Lishilekelo office leli lishe washa nemafayela la netindzaba tabo labantu labadzala indzaba tabo labo labakhubatekile ama particulars abo labo nanabo labathola ioffice ifana khona ishile yonke le record leyo. Siyethemba ke lokho ekuyifuneni kwethu kubo computer labanye ngoba information yesi siyayistora khona lapha physically but lenye siyayistora as well electronically ihlale kuma computers ukuthi siyayithola kodwa naleyo lesingakayitholi siyaphinde sibuyele ke benene esiveni siyayicela leyo information leyo.
Other offices also affected by the fire are those under the Ministry of Health. By the time of compiling this report, the worth of the damage could not be established. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Manzini.
The Ministry of Education has promised to deal harshly with head teachers who continue to misuse school funds. This was said by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Bertram Stewart, when appearing before the Public Accounts Committee to clarify audit queries that were found by the Auditor General in the financial year 2017-2018.
The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education and Training, Bertram Stewart, has informed the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament that the Ministry will take stiffer measures in trying to deal with head teachers who continue to misuse school funds. Stewart was appearing before the committee when they were dealing with audit queries concerning certain schools which were found on the wrong side of the law during the 2018 financial year.
Teachers trainer, school committees train chairperson, but in spite of all that, I think it's high time that we get very, very firm on such malpractice.
Stewart says it is very discouraging to note that head teachers continue to misuse school funds, yet the ministry spends a lot of money training head teachers and school committees on how to manage school funds. The Office of the Accountant General is also concerned with the embezzlement of funds. The Office of the Accountant General says while government is trying hard to deal with the wage bill, some monies are spent unprocedural in schools.
Ngala sihlushwa ukuthi reduce wage bill which has ballooned. Asikhoni kwenda letinye izinto ngale cash flow crisis. But ngala kunezinto ubona ukuthi now kuna school regulations ataza offer take events. Kwaphuma i-Public Finance Management Act 2017. Lene ma reforms asho ukuthi sitawuchinja se-EFT siye kuphi. Uyatibuta ke ukuthi nanga sola kabuye. Atazi ngakaphuma ngeke aphume inala mashare kenze kokuqala pass.
The PS promised the PSC that they are now going to deal harshly with head teachers who continue to embezzle school funds. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Linton Kule with Fortune Langamanda in Parliament.
The Eswatini National Youth Council has opened up a call for 22 young entrepreneurs to participate in an entrepreneurship bootcamp, which will be held in Johannesburg next week. The camp has been facilitated by a South African organization known as the Village Entrepreneurship. The call was announced by ENYC Communications Officer Sibonga Mamba.
The 7-day business boot camp for young people that has been sponsored by the Village Entrepreneurship Organization will take place from the 1st of August to the 7th. Announcing the call for eligible young entrepreneurs to apply for this training opportunity, Eswatini National Youth Council Communications Officer Sibonga Mamba encouraged young Eswatini entrepreneurs to make good use of this opportunity, especially since all traveling expenses will be catered for.
I'd first like to thank the government of Eswatini for their continued support towards youth development programs in the country. Through the Youth Council, in collaboration with the Village Experience, we are presenting this opportunity to young people, whereby young people will be given a chance to go and share their skills, knowledge, experiences with their counterparts in other countries, in other African countries, to name a few. It's Namibia, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Ghana. We are hoping young people will come back to our country to impart their knowledge or the skills they've gained in this initiative, and also present businesses that are of high quality, and it will help ensure young people are able to also penetrate through the Africa Free Trade Agreement.
Sibonga gives an insight of the eligibility criteria for participation in this program.
We are expecting young people that are between the ages 25 to 35, young people that have completed at least a diploma program or degree program. Thereby they'll have to attach their certificates, academic certificates. Also, we are expecting young people who have registered businesses, they're expecting them to attach their trading licenses as proof. We are also expecting young people who will have laptops or iPads or tablets that they will use for their boot camp.
Young people who will excel in the Johannesburg bootcamp will be invited to join another important training session in September known as the Village Entrepreneurship Boardroom Experience, which will be held in Cape Town. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Mbongwa Dube in Babane.
The 7th edition of the Mahamba Gorge hiking excursion, which was initially said to be on the 24th and the 25th of July, has been postponed indefinitely. This was said by the Mahamba Gorge Technical Committee Chairman Lakim Sibi.
The commencement of the 7th edition of the Mahamba Gorge hiking excursion keeps getting affected, which results to its postponement as the first set date was changed due to a clash of events with elections. The event was therefore rescheduled to take place on the 24th and 25th of July, but due to the surge in COVID-19 cases, the Mahamba Gorge hiking excursion committee has postponed the excursion indefinitely. Chairperson of the Mahamba Gorge Technical Committee, Lakim Sibi, elucidates more on the decision to push the day of the event forward.
Sabuka ukuthi lamalanga le weekend 24-25 utawuqhubeka lo msebenzi. Kuthi teke sisekubukile lokho na yase kuchamuka ke nawo umkhuhlane i-third wave levele ibonakala itangemandla kulamalanga. Sitheke nasibuka nathi ngekungcutfulisa kubo betempilo na kubo njeke lapho ngibona basebenzayo nalo msebenzi wemalungiselelo sabona ukuthi vele uma singathi siyaqhubeka nawo lo msebenzi ngabe sifaka emaswati engodini yekuthi mhlambe lo mkhuhlane uqhubeke udlondlobale njengoba njeke naye uhulumende avedile ukuthi imicimbi mhlambe letawujonsa balinani lebantu libe linengana akumane ithi kumayima nathi ke sithe vele asesibamba bambe kona kubhlungu ngoba imaswati lamanenga belikhombisile lisasasa kakhulu uthi vele ayafuna kuyoncanca entsabeni yakumahamba kutontshintsha impilo debantu kepha ke akukapheli lutho maswati lamahle umsebenzi usetawuba khona manje nje ke vele kulesikhathi lesi sisabuka wona lo mkhuhlane.
The daily COVID-19 cases report issued by the Ministry of Health on Sunday indicates that 318 new cases were confirmed on Sunday alone, putting the cumulative confirmed cases to 23,005. For Eswatini TV News, Sifiso Ngumalo with Smova Shongwe in Hlangano.
The Baphalali Eswatini Red Cross Society has since the beginning of winter received 64 requests for humanitarian assistance from households burnt down by fires. Red Cross Program Manager Elliot Jale says most household fires in Eswatini happen in winter.
Since the beginning of the winter season this year, the Baphalali Eswatini Red Cross Society has received about 64 requests for assistance from people representing households whose property and houses were burnt down by fires. Red Cross Eswatini Program Manager Elliot Jale says about 364 people have been affected by these fires.
Umlilo nyalo ebusika sonke siyafuna ukuphuthumala ngiko lokunye lokhanza ukuthi umuntu ufuna ukuphuthumede bese uyakhohlwa ukuthi ubase umlilo.
Jale says their assessments show that most destructive fires in the winter season in Eswatini are caused by people warming themselves and then forgetting to put out the fire they used to warm themselves up. Meanwhile, Baphalali Red Cross Eswatini volunteers have visited about 30,000 homesteads in Babane and Manzini since April to teach more people about COVID-19.
Kubo kuseyinwe nje ukuthi siyafunza ngeva emakhala amanye asifakazela ukuthi hey sesike sakubona lo mkhuhlane.
Baphalali Red Cross Society encourages people to exercise extra caution when dealing with fire this winter season and to take time to put out candles during bedtime. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Mbongwa Dube in Babane.
Good Shepherd High School in the year 2018 paid 70,894 emalangeni to individuals who were contracted by the school. According to the Public Accounts Committee, this is against the law as schools are supposed to contract companies that pay tax to government, not just individuals.
Despite giving tenders to individuals instead of companies that pay tax to government, it was also discovered that Good Shepherd High School also purchases materials outside of the country, which also results to loss of revenue for government. The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education and Training, Bertram Stewart, and members of the Public Accounts Committee condemned this act by Good Shepherd High School.
Isikhathi nemali siyachithwa kufundiswa abo head teacher ngenzaba yokugcina imali ntetikolo. Ngoba nje nyalo sesitaphuma lesithombe sengathi kwathi waphangisa wena ufomishele inkampani sitabo sebenza nawe nasidinga ukuthi ngibone wathi ukuthi wena ukhona uyabona umuntu nangabe ede inkampani awunazizathu ngisho nasekumvusele nawe uthenga kuyo siyethemba ukuthi uyakwadi ethicha lokho but ke asathi ukuthi babesebenzela nothathenga kubantu nje bathambela abadengcela ngemgwaqo chepe
le interest lanayo la labane ma business lesteki athi bancane ufuna abakhule bayela kuwe akamane ehlukane nabo akonzene nemsebenzi lo ngoba lokho kumenta azagange athi abahambe bawuthenga South Africa tinkampani titulu utatila timbombi ngoba ufuna letimbombi utshengisela abantu ukuthi ngifuna imbombi lenjenga nayi mina uawe head teacher la ekutheni uya contribute la ekutheni nohulumende alo utilizer letinkampani letingasiyo registered letingeke titsele at the end of the day uawe lo to contribute kule downfall ya hulumende lo sente singasiyamthola in terms of my taxes of VAT and the likes
letimpompi letika akusiyetho letholakala noma nganguphi ngilapho lefuna ngiqale khona.
The Public Accounts Committee commends the head teacher's ability to reduce Good Shepherd High School debts, as when he took office, he found that the school's debts were around 1.5 million emalangeni. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with LinkedIn Gule Parliament.
The country's latest weather forecast shows that the cold front, which swept through Eswatini in the past few days, will come to an end. As from tomorrow, normal winter temperatures are expected in Eswatini. This is an update given by Meteorological Services Director Dudun Hlengetwa, who stated that Gege recorded the coldest temperatures of -5.
During the cold front that swept through Eswatini from Thursday, the coldest recorded temperature was at Gege in the Shiselweni region, even though most parts of the kingdom experienced ice-cold temperatures. Director of the Eswatini Meteorological Services, Dudun Hlengetwa, says the cold spell will vanish as temperatures will go back to the normal winter cold from Tuesday.
Indeed, we saw the cold front coming in on Thursday, whereby there was strong cold winds on Thursday, but the wind subsided, but it continued to be cold. The lowest minimum that we experienced was at Gege, where we received, where we observed a minimum of -5, which is the lowest July minimum that we've heard that we have in our records, previously having a -4 for Big Bend in 1990. As was previously forecasted, the situation still stands. We are expecting temperatures to improve tomorrow, whereby we are already expecting the lowest minimum to be around 4 degrees Celsius in the country, and our maximum temperatures to be ranging between 20 and about 27 degrees Celsius. And the situation is expected to continue improving throughout the week.
When the cold front hit Eswatini, copious quantities of frost were seen in parts of the country. For Eswatini TV News, Hlengiwe Ndlovu with Mbongwadube in Babane.
Kwezi High School in the year 2017 settled debts amounting to 282,519 emalangeni without verifying existence of the debts. This transpired when the school appeared before the Public Accounts Committee earlier today.
On Monday morning, the Public Accounts Committee continued probing audit queries raised by the Auditor General in the school's audit report. One of the schools which appeared before the committee is Kwezi High School, where the school had to answer an audit query regarding the settlement of debts amounting to 282,519 emalangeni in the year 2017 without verification. The mismanagement of funds in the school resulted in the previous head teacher being removed from the school. The incubated head teacher says he settled the debts following a report which was compiled by Knowledge Ngwenya, who was the Minister of Education and Training Investigation Officer.
Head teacher in the presence yakhe babengweni.
Remember ngilisukela ephenyo sihlalo mhla 1 November 2017. Ukhona teacher lakhe okoMahlalena. Ukhona deputy head teacher Maseko. Ukhona make sihlalo lo sayina lathi usayine leyo ncwadi yetikwelede. Cha sihlalo ngichubeke neliphenyo vele. Ngitobuka certain areas angeke into auditor school phela mina ngisuke audit.
Members of the committee share their concerns regarding the payment of the debts by the school without verification. PAC also questions the role of Ngwenya in the payment of the debts.
Ungawele tikwelede letibhalwe la babhale emva uba yena sasayinele takhe letimbili latati babeseke bamengetela leletinye. Noma wayibona yini le report yakhe ukuthi inato tonke letikwelede leti.
Nginale concern yalokho ukuthi leti kwenet leti uqale wathi babe mabuya thing 2 or 3 anyway ube sosichazela ngalo 2.
The other issue discussed by the committee is that Kwezi High School in the year 2018 used over 248,000 emalangeni without the permission of school committee, and there were no documents justifying the payments. The report of the Auditor General further stated that there were cost peoples who were listed under the orphan and vulnerable children. PAC recommends that the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education should take up the matter and involve police in order to get answers regarding the mismanagement of funds. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Linton Gule, Parliament.
And now let's have a look at our financial markets. Good evening once again. You are still watching Eswatini TV. Let's have a look at our sports news. The Eswatini Volleyball Association says they are currently working on conducting trials to select players who will represent the country during the Region 5 tournament that will be held in December. The president of the association, Bendulo Dlamini, says the coronavirus outbreak is making it hard to do the job well.
In December, the country will be part of the SADC Games under the Region 5, where different sporting courts will be played. Among those sporting courts, Eswatini will be represented by the Under-19 ladies football team. Volleyball has been suspended since the COVID-19 outbreak, which has made it hard for the Volleyball Association to select the team that will represent the country. Volleyball Association President Bendulo Dlamini explains further on the games.
We have appointed coaches who will be in charge of the squad, and so far they have done a selection of the team, which so far they've submitted a list of 25 players. But at the end of the day, the squad has to be trimmed to 12 players plus 2 officials. So I will say that so far we are on track. It's just that it's unfortunately because our sport is classified under the high risk sport, so there are no activities at the meantime, but immediately the lockdown is eased, then the squad will go on camps and it will start preparing for the camps, and we hope and pray that everything will go accordingly until December, where our squad will be expected to participate.
Dlamini says even though the situation is bad for now, they do believe they will be able to have a very competitive team. The games will be played in December in Maseru, Lesotho. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizo MCB Mbabane.